a Canadian radio sanctuary podcast. Join us now as our special guest, Team Governor for the Chilliwack Chiefs and Vice President of Business Operations, Barry Douglas. Thanks for joining us, Barry.
Always a pleasure to speak with you, Johnny. I appreciate the time.
All right. Now, I'm just going to go down a few things. I don't want to steal all your thunder here, but just to set things up a little bit now. The Chiefs' schedule for this year, for the 2022-23, you were quoted as saying, and I paraphrase, this being the 33rd season, that this is the best schedule the Chiefs have ever had. Is that correct?
Absolutely. It's worked out where, we haven't had a lot of difficult 3-on-3 nights, first and foremost, for the players, because that's always very taxing for the guys. Having to play that third game in 3 days is never good, and it's never, player safety as well. On the home ice, though, we've had a really good kind of variety of games as well, where we don't have a lot of, again, Wednesdays and then a Friday or that kind of thing. So we've only had 2 Wednesday home games this year, which is amazing. So all the rest of our games have been on the weekends, and fortunately we've had some really big crowds. The team is playing well on home ice, very exciting as well. They've, I think won 3 or 4 games in overtime on home ice as well. So that's been really great for the fans.
Absolutely. We're recording this, of course, as of now, this being Tuesday, February 7. But tomorrow, the Chiefs are at Coquitlam with the Express. And then we're back to the weekends with Saturday, the 11th, Surrey Eagles in Chilliwack. Now, as I look at the standings as of today, and correct me if I've got some of this wrong, but I think I did my homework here for a change, Barry. The interior division is 9 teams, and Penticton V's are number 1 with 35 wins and 31 losses so far. Second is Cranbrook Bucks at 27 and 10 record. And then in the 9 team, so it's a nice even split of the 18 teams, 9 teams for the Coastal Division. Nanaimo Clippers in first with a 29 and 7 record. Then you've got the Surrey Eagles second with 24 wins and 10 losses. And the Chiefs are third, so it's a pretty tight race there, 21 and 16 record. So they've done really well so far this year.
You definitely would receive the apple from the teacher if that's how it worked. I mean, you did your homework very well there. So, yeah, the standings is incredible. Great time to be a BCHL fan. I mean, as you mentioned in the Coastal Conference, right now, it's 2 points separating third from sixth. And 2 of those teams are the Chilliwack Chiefs and Coquitlam Express. As you mentioned, we're in Coquitlam on Wednesday. And the Surrey Eagles, we're only 7 points back of them for second place. And we play them on Saturday. And I have to mention this as well, which we just thought of this morning at the office. As you know, this Sunday it's the Philadelphia Eagles and the Kansas City Chiefs for the Super Bowl on Sunday. Saturday it's the Eagles versus Chiefs on the ice. How about that one?
Hey, it's amazing how you plan that, eh?
I know. I like to take credit for that one, but that was thanks to the schedule gods on that one.
That's a great one. Talking about special nights, just to roll back a few weeks here, Trevor Linden night in January, you got about 5,000 people for that.
It was incredible, and there was 3 or 4 different factors, and you always have to have a foundation to have a good promotion or a good game night, and the Vetter Transportation Group they presented the Dairy Appreciation Night, and they brought out a lot of their dairy industry folks, both folks who work in the dairy industry as well as the Vetter Transportation Group and all their staff. So they brought out a huge contingent of fans to the game, and then Trevor Linden obviously put us over the top. Trevor agreed to come out, and he dropped the puck, and he signed autographs for almost the entire game, John. It was pretty cool to see. Our concourse had as many people on it as we did in the stands that night, as they were lined up all game long to get Trevor's autograph. And then on the ice, it was a big game as well. The Cranbrook Bucks made their first ever appearance here at the Coliseum, and Nathan Lewin, who is their owner, he is from Abbotsford, so that brought out some fans. And of course, Lewin's a former NHL player as well, so that attracted some more people to come check out the Cranbrook Bucks for the very first time.
And tying in with your mention of the NHL, you've got some players that are on their way in that direction soon, or fairly soon, right?
Yes, it's Abram Weeb, starting with him, our captain. He was drafted by Vegas Golden Knights, and he's going to be off to college to North Dakota first of all, then hopefully he'll get his chance in the NHL. And just a real quick note on that, you brought up the NHL, which is interesting, is we played the West Kelowna Warriors on February 4th, and that game featured 3 NHL draft picks and 22 players who are committed to the NCAA Division I with scholarships. So it was pretty cool to see how many players have garnered themselves a commitment to the NCAA, and those games are becoming more and more frequent with a lot of college players on the ice. I mean, we have no less than 9 forwards and about 3 defensemen and a goalie who are already committed to the NCAA.
Wow, that's fantastic. A lot of credit, too, for the success, especially the last 7 years, that Brian Maloney, the head coach and GM. What can you say about Brian?
Yeah, Brian's, he came in when we were hosting the national championship. He was the assistant coach, and then the coaching change was made for him to take over literally right before the national tournament started. So he was grabbed the troops. We had missed the playoffs in that year, and we weren't anticipated or expected to do much in that national championship. And he led the team in the tournament. We lost the first game, and then after that, we never lost again, and we won, of course, and got to lift that trophy. And since then, he has continued to bring in a very competitive and quality team every single season. A lot of high-end players, as I kind of touched on a bit earlier. I mean, this year you've got some great players, and like Sasha Teleguin, he's probably the fastest player in the entire league, and he'll be off to college next year. And Mason Kesselring has scored a whole bunch of overtime goals going to Connecticut next year or two. So, but Brian has a really good pipeline and really good connections with players who are going off or hoping to go off to the NCAA. And there's no one more competitive and no one that works harder than Coach Brian.
I know you said to me once some time ago that if you want to try and get in early in the morning before Brian's there, well, you have to get in pretty early.
That's so true, and leaving the building as well. He's always, that's what leaders do, though. They lead by example, so usually the first one to arrive and the last one to leave, and I think that's something that, is a very good quality for him and for all the leaders, is to lead by example.
And as you were touching on about the championship, that year would have been 2018.
2018, and really a Cinderella story. I mean, the team, again, lost in the first round of playoffs, and there was a lot of dejection, and there wasn't a lot of hope at that time, but then he came in and got the train back on the tracks, and I won't ever forget that final game on TSN, packed building, and I'd never heard it louder than that.
Okay, Barry, we'll let you go. We'll catch a few more games before the season's done. It's a longer season, though, this year, is it not?
Yeah, so our last weekend of games in the regular season is March 25th and March 26th. So it has gone a bit longer, which is by design as well from the BCHL to, again, eliminate those weekday games and lessen 3 games in 3 nights, which is what we all want.
Fantastic. For more information on the schedule and everything, ChilliwackChiefs.net.
Yeah, so they can pop by your house and talk to you.
Well, that's right. Well, I know. I've got people waiting at the door right now. Of course, I spread the rumor that Trevor Linden was going to be here.
That works.
Okay. Take care, Barry, and thanks a lot, and best of luck for the rest of the season.
Thank you. As always, really appreciate your support.